and a couple more people from the waiting room. All right, well, welcome everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for today's workshop, Building Your Professional Online Presence. My name is Janelle Baskin. I'm the Student Success and Open Education Librarian at the Walker Library. We're excited to have you here. This is a brand new workshop that we've just started offering this semester, so we're glad to see that y'all are interested in it. A little bit about the topic. So first I want to let you know that we are recording it. So we will record the presentation part, and then at the end we'll stop the recording and give y'all a few minutes to ask questions, and you won't have to worry about being on the recording for that. But we are recording it for people to want to watch it later. It will be on the library's YouTube channel. So, all right, so a little bit about the topic now. So we're talking about the importance of your online presence, and that's super important nowadays where everything's online, and that can have a huge impact on your career. Because we know when you're out there looking for jobs, looking for internships, trying to build that scholarly identity, that any recruiter that's looking at you or a potential employer or even your peers are often going to look you up online and look at your profile and to learn about you. And so how you represent yourself is very important. The story that you're telling is important, especially in your career. So that's our topic for today. We're going to have two fantastic presenters. Amy Medlin is here from the Career Development Center. She is a career advisor, and she's going to be talking about LinkedIn. She'll be doing the first portion. And then Dr. Karen Norris is our research and data librarian at Walker Library, and she's going to be talking about ORCID. So I'm going to turn it over to Amy, and we'll let you guys ask questions at the end, or if you want to put them in chat, that will also work. Okay. All right, so Amy, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, my name's Amy Medlin. I'm a career advisor in the Career Development Center, which if you don't know where we're located, we are in the KUC, room 328. So on the third floor, just if you come upstairs from Callie's, right outside of Callie's, then we're the first door on the right. So that's where you can find us if you need us. We have snacks and drinks if you need those. And you can always schedule an appointment with any of our advisors online at a time that is convenient for you. So today we're going to talk about LinkedIn. So I'm going to share my LinkedIn profile. Here we go, right here. So we can get started. So several things with LinkedIn. It actually, and I can't really get a hands because I can't see you in person, but I imagine that if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, you will be getting one soon because that is important for um, networking, for looking for jobs, for those kind of things as you get close to graduation, and also for internships. So I would imagine many of you have at least begun a LinkedIn profile. So I'm going to go through the important things and the way to make adjustments if you need to. And at the end, if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer. This is going to be pretty basic, but it's one of those things if you opened one, created one a year or two ago, and you haven't done much to it, these are things you'll want to make sure you pay attention to and possibly update. So to start with, like this is mine. When I sign into LinkedIn, this is what I see. I see people's posts right here. And then over here on the left under the LinkedIn square, you'll see my name and picture here. So if you click on that box, well, actually my name, if you click on my name, it comes to my main page where I can make changes on this page. And so one of the things that's really important is your profile picture. Now, mine is not exactly what I would recommend for you. It's not terrible because it's not a bad picture. I am looking at the camera, which is very important, but it's best to have one with no background in the back or a faded background. So the best thing we recommend is to have a professional headshot and or one done in front of a nice blank background with a light ring if possible. We do have both of those things in the Career Center, and if you would like that to do that, you can come up here. We don't have a professional camera. We can just use yours. It's better not to do selfies. They look like selfies, and the pictures don't turn out as well as they do if you do it like you're really taking a picture with the phone or camera. So you are welcome to do that, but several things with a selfie to remember. You do want to make sure you're looking at the camera. You don't want a side profile. You don't want with a hat, don't be wearing a hat, sunglasses, even if they're fashionable. You want people to be able to see your face. and your eyes. You also want to have at least your shoulders in there, but it's become a new thing. They recommend to have like a larger picture of your, not larger, but more of your body. So kind of from the waist up or elbows up kind of thing. So maybe like sitting at the desk, and I can't see, you can't see me, but like with you, like if your arms are on a desk or somehow where they can see a little bit more of you than just your head and shoulders. That's the new thing that I'm reading. Although I think an up close picture is also fine. I see that mostly on headshots and profile pictures currently. So one of those. The important thing is no hats, no scarves. I mean, not scarves. No hats, no glasses, and make sure you're looking at the camera. The last thing too is whatever you're wearing, make sure it's the clothes that you're wearing are appropriate for the industry that you're in. If it's a casual industry, you can dress casually. If it's a business industry, make sure that you have that like dress shirt on and jacket probably, or a nice sweater, something that looks at least business casual. More likely, because this is for a job, you would want it to be more business attire, like with maybe even a tie. So if you're a guy. And then the next thing you want to look at is the tagline under here. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. So in the profile picture, if you want to change the profile picture, you click on there, and it also shows anyone that you want. If you want anyone to see it, that's what you do. If you want to choose certain people not to, or certain groups of people, you can do that. But if you want to add a different photo, you can click add photo, and then either use your camera, which we don't recommend. We recommend you having that on your camera to start, but upload a photo from your computer. Also, frames that you can use. This is just a plain one, but if you're open to work, so if you're looking for internship, if you're looking for a full-time job, you can choose that button. And then later, if your company's hiring, that's something that you can let people know too. So those are both great networking tools, because maybe someone that you know sees that you're hiring in one of these days when you're working for a company, and they know you. So they might want to talk with you about that company and see how you enjoy working. Going to switch back to the original and go back to that. Let's see, discard changes. Okay. And then one other thing is the banner profile back here. There's a way that you can create something of your own. I did College of Education because I just recently graduated with my master's in education. And so it's the College of Education building here at MTSU. If you're a student here, you may want to put something like that, or you may want to, like with MTSU or the building that you are mostly in for your studies, or something completely different. A lot of people create them on Canva. I'm not a specialist at that yet, but I know there are ways to do that actually have banners on there for LinkedIn. The next important thing is the tagline here. So you'll see here, I have my name, and then I have a career advisor and higher education professional. And so what you want to do here is put information about you that they can read at a glance. Kind of like on your resume, there's like a little profile, or you have skills listed. You want to list some of those things in short words so that they can, at a glance, see your picture, see what you are, what you do, what your skills are. So you definitely want to tailor it to an industry that you're wanting to go into and use those keywords for your industry. The way you make changes on that is there's a little pencil here in this box. Click on that. And this is where you put your name. And so like I wanted to use my maiden name and my other name. And then, so I put those both on the same line. And there are other things you can add, pronouns. And here's the headline. If you have premium and you pay for it, you can get AI suggestions, but I'm not interested in premium currently, so there's no need for that. You can write what you would like. So career advisor, higher education professional. I could also say career coach maybe. And so I'll just show you. So when you do that, you can do that and save it down at the bottom. But you also want to say if you're your current position, if you're a student, you can write junior, senior, freshman, sophomore at MTSU. And what industry are you looking at going into? That would be what you want to put there. And your school, university here, Middle Tennessee State. All of that information will go into that. I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to show you one more thing. So I added career coach so you can see that. It'll also go on the second line if you add a little bit more. Here's where it shows your school. I don't know why it shows me MTSU twice. That's something I do need to figure out. You can also show like open to what? Finding a new job, hiring, providing services. So finding a new job might be what some of you are looking at currently. The other thing that is on here is it does have down at the bottom a website. If you are in graphic design, in the music industry, in anything where you would have like audio production, anything that you would have a website that would display your information, your projects, your soundtracks, any of those kind of things, this would be a great place to put the link because it'll be in that first white box of your LinkedIn profile, and it'll be easy for someone to click on there and go straight to your website. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is look over here on the right. You'll see public profile and URL. When you first, if you don't have one, like you see my name, it says www.linkedin.com/n/Amy Medlin. If you don't have one with your name on it, if you just have it with lots of letters and numbers, you'll want to change that because we recommend that you put your LinkedIn profile on your resume. And you want it to be one someone can type in easily. If it's like a terrible combination of letters and numbers like it is on Wi-Fi until you change your Wi-Fi password, it is not easy for them. So you can change that here by clicking the pencil. And it says right here on the right-hand side, edit your custom URL. And so you just click that button and mine worked with Amy-Medlin. You may have to put numbers with it. You may have to do something else, but you can try and it will let you know. And that way you're the only one with this name so they can type that in. I'm going to cancel that. The next thing we'll talk about is going down here to your About section. In the About section, actually, let me go back. Oh my goodness. There we go. Going back to the main page. If you scroll down, we're going to skip the analytics. This just shows who has viewed your profile and has commented on something. Your About section is where you want to talk about who you are. And you want to do this in a more personal way than you do on a resume. A resume is more like a fact sheet about yourself written in the third person. You don't say I, you don't really show personality. You just demonstrate your experience and your expertise there. So here you want to talk more in the first person. You don't want to have like a large paragraph because it's hard for people to read and they're likely not to read it. But if you have a couple of sentences and a skip a line, a couple sentences, skip a line, and or if you can bullet point some things, it's really helpful for people to read quickly. As we know, as much as technology is helpful, it also brings in so much more information that even though it's quick to find people we want to read about, we don't have time to read all that information. So you want to make it easy as possible if an employer is looking at your profile to find what they need. So this is where you want to talk about yourself in the first person. And for example, mine is, I am an energetic career advisor who is passionate about assisting students and alumni in all aspects of career development in order to aid in their success. And that's me. That's why I got into career advising to start at a university. When I started talking with my older children who brought friends home and they were graduating and didn't know what they wanted to do, I'm like, there has to be a career center on campus. Find them and talk to them. And so I ended up coming to work at MTSU 7 years ago, and I've been in the career center for 3. And I love it because we want you all to succeed, not just in school, but you need to go beyond school and graduate and get a job. That is so important. And so through this is what you want to talk about your own experience. And it can be class projects. It can be internships. It can be part-time jobs. It can be your class, the coursework that you've done. So say things about yourself, show your personality, be a little more personal. And then at the bottom, where you can do a little section that's called expertise, or you can say, I don't know, but still expertise, I think, is a good one. What are you really good at? And some of those things can actually even be soft skills, but like training, job search coaching, empowering, resumes, cover letters, personal statements, interviewing, career assessments. And those are things that I did not want to put in the sentences because it's kind of boring. And in fact, I might ought to change it to bullet points. So like what I think I would do here is probably do this and I'll do the rest of it later, but this is an example. You can do this and highlight it and somehow do bullet points. Sorry about that. I have got to figure that out. But that I think it would be easier for people to scroll right through and see that instead of in a long sentence. And so that is something that you can do. Right below here, it'll have skills and it will even recommend skills based on what you have written about yourself and your degree that you're seeking. So relationship building is one that showed up for me, leadership, public speaking. I can add more. They suggested one based on my profile, sales. That was what I did in my past, and I don't want to do it again. I enjoyed it at the time, but now it's just not something I'm interested in. So I don't want to draw attention to that. But other skills you can add, you can come up with your own. Here's one: project management, accounting. Let's see, public speaking's there, construction management or financial literacy, all kinds of things that you might be in your skill set. We're going to save. I'm not going to save that. Actually, I'm going to get out. Not going to change. So then we want to, if we made any changes here, I still don't want to save that. So I'm going to get out of it. No thanks. There we go. All right. So there we go. Now I am back to this. Now, after the about, we go to your experience, which is all of your working experience and also can include research or projects like that. Working experience can also include internships, part-time work, those kind of things. And it just shows your trajectory of where you are starting out, and it shows as you continue to add to it through the years, where you've come from. So the way to do this is click on the pencil again, and it kind of asks you questions. So right now, as a career advisor, I've been here for as a career advisor for almost 2.5 years, and a recruiting coordinator before. I did something else with employers then. And so as a career advisor, it shows up some skills that I've done, but you also can add here. So I can add in this and I can talk about what I do, major duties and successes. So those are some things that I need to do to update my profile. And it's really great if you would take the time, and I'm talking to myself as well, take the time to at least once a semester while you're in school, and really like quarterly when you start working, because you do so many things that you forget about. It would be really helpful if you could write them down kind of as you go along. And this is so easy to access. So all you have to do is go in, start typing things. It also shows you what your profile headline is. If you decide you want to change that here, you can as well. And again, skills. And then media is a really good one. So some people, if you do presentations, if you've done a class presentation, if you have if you're a musician or an audio engineer, some of the things that you've done. If anything, if you're a graphic designer, if you do videography, these are places where you can add media that show your skills there. And again, it might be showing you doing something like speaking in a crowd, training, teaching, or it could be something like music, videos, things like that. Let's see. And then you would save it or get out. I don't think I made any changes. So experience is pretty much your work experience. When you are looking, this is something you will want to notice when you look up other people. Go back and see where they started. And I didn't go back as far as my original job after college because it's been so long ago, it doesn't matter. But where you are now is really a good place to start. Then you can get out of experience. And the other thing that is important is your education. So to add one, you just click plus. To change something on the one that you did, you click that. Now, on my education, I put Belmont University, which I do not include on my resume because it doesn't really matter. I was only there 1 year, but I put it on LinkedIn because I remember some friends that I had at Belmont, and it's still a connection point. So even if you don't include a school on your resume, it may be beneficial to add it onto LinkedIn because you you may have connections or might need connections one day, or they may need you um, on LinkedIn. So just for a future job. So this shows my education. Now, the other thing, I have a couple more minutes. One of the things that you need to do if you're just beginning on LinkedIn is to start connecting with people. So you can look up people. So I am looking up, let's see here. We'll look up Janelle. I don't know if I'm friends with her on here, or not really friends. This isn't Facebook. So if we're connected on LinkedIn, so let's look at Janelle's profile. And yes, I think we must be connected. I'm pretty sure we are. But if we weren't, it would have, let me find somebody that I don't think I am. Let me try. Actually, okay, I am connected with him. So it says first on here. He's a career advisor. If I weren't, it'll say connect. But let's say, let me think. Let's do, I don't think Karen. I don't think I'm connected with Karen. Okay, no, well, I'm this, like, I know her secondly. So here we go. I have not connected with Karen. So if I click connect, and then I can add a note. And this is a great way too, that you can just say, hi, Karen. I can't even type. Saw you on the video conference today and wanted to increase my LinkedIn network with MTSU employees. And then you can send that. Because sometimes people will think, oh no, how do I know this person? Because I will, for most students, I will, let me go back to my home. Most students I will automatically admit, but some I don't. And the reason you want to get to know people like that you really know in person or that will connect with you, your professors, faculty and staff all on, on campus, friends on campus, even classmates, is because the more people you connect with, the more people you can connect with. Because then you can go and look at theirs. We'll look at Becca Moore is our director. And so I can look at her profile and we can see, let's see where, or I'm trying to think. I've totally forgotten how to do this one thing. Well, there is a way that you can connect. You can see if people know each other. And if it shows up for me, like if you want to connect with me, that we might be friends or connections, have a network, and be linked in with someone else. So that's really helpful. So the more people you get to know, the more people you can add to your network. When you go to a career fair, it's a great idea to connect with the person that you've talked with at a company that you're interested in, get their business card, come back, send them a LinkedIn request, send them a little note. It was so nice to meet you. I enjoyed hearing more about your company and hope to keep in touch. And that makes a big impression. They can see you. They're going to look up your LinkedIn profile anyway. So those are really important things. And the last thing, remember that LinkedIn is a business network. It is a professional network. And so you want to keep it professional. They've recently started saying happy birthday to people, which is fine, but you really, to talk like personal with people, you want to do that on Instagram. So you really want these to be professional connections and to write things professionally to people. Make sure you write them in good English. It doesn't have to be like perfect sentences, but you want to make a good impression when you're talking with someone. And then secondly, people, when they are looking at your LinkedIn, they're going to see if you've posted anything. So possibly I am not a good poster. I'm now looking for a job, and so I'm not as worried about that right now, but it is still a good idea because people can go back and read what you've posted. They're interested in, companies are interested in it, and find out what you find is important in a career and in your profession. So I think that is it for now. If you have more questions, we can talk at the end.
Thank you, Amy.
Yeah.
There were actually 2 questions in the chat, and maybe while you're answering those, I'm gonna go ahead and put our poll questions. I'll put a link in the chat
Okay,
if everybody
perfect.
wants to go ahead and start answering those.
Okay.
Yeah, and let me see if
Let me
I
get
can
up here.
share, and you can answer the questions in the chat while I'm bringing that up.
Okay. Um, okay, the question of if you have any letters of recommendation from anyone received while at a job, is that something you would add to your profile or save for a job interview process? I would I would not put those on your LinkedIn, but there is a place on LinkedIn where you can um there's a place where you can ask for recommendations. And so you can request somebody like the person that wrote you a letter, there's a place where you can request them to recommend you for something. So like maybe they commended you for being an excellent accounting student or whatever. Or your leadership, anything like that. So there are little sections you can click and ask them, would you write a recommendation for me on this? And they will. I mean, I would imagine they would do that easily if they would write your recommendation letter. So that's where you would want to put that kind of information and then save the letters, yes, for a job. For the education section, it's not high school. If you are a freshman, high school information is fine. But really, after that, it doesn't matter as much because what you do in college is what's really going to solidify a job for you. The only thing I would change though is if you, for experience, if you have something like if you are planning to go to med school and you are in a science, like a healthcare kind of organization, or you've done even in high school, if you did some kind of caretaking or something in hospitals, doctors' offices, you could add that in your experience, but I would not put it in education.
Okay, awesome. All right, so I'm looking at y'all's responses. If you have not yet gone to Menti, or you can click the link in the chat or go open up a new tab and go to menti.com and put in the code. We just got 3 quick questions we'd like to ask you. This will help us to know how you heard about our event. It looks like most of you from the calendar of events. So that surprises me because the in-person workshop we did yesterday, everyone said student email. So that's helpful if you guys can answer that. Um, which of these online platforms do you currently have accounts with? So it looks like 16 of you have already got LinkedIn. So that's awesome. And then we were just interested to see the other things that you guys were on already. And then lastly, if you have any suggestions of topics that you would like to see us do workshops about, feel free to enter those in there and that will help us plan for next year of what kind of workshops to do. So thank you so much for participating in the polls. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to turn it over to Karen.
All right, let me bring up my PowerPoint here. Okay, there we go. Well, hello. Hi, everyone. I am Karen Norse. I am the research and data librarian at Walker Library. My job focuses on helping MTSU students and professors with their research. So things like designing research studies, collection and analysis of their data, and getting published in peer-reviewed journals. So my goal today, with the time I've got, is to talk about using social media to craft your image as a researcher. So some of you are currently pursuing undergraduate research projects through Eureka, the undergraduate research experience and creative activity. And I've got the website for that pictured here. And some of you are likely interested in or already enrolled in graduate school here at MTSU, in which case you are likely conducting research or learning about research as part of your academic program. And others of you may not have yet thought about conducting original research projects as part of your studies, but I would highly encourage that. And I can certainly speak to you one-on-one about getting started in research if you're not sure how to do so. But in any of these scenarios, you're not just a college student, but you are a researcher. And so you need to think about how to best portray this scholarly identity online. Doing so is an important means of self-promotion in a competitive job market and world. Okay, so let's talk just real briefly about this self-promotion through social media, which we've already considered with Amy's excellent discussion of LinkedIn. But just to build on that, remember that we are hoping well, let's back it up. What are we hoping to accomplish with social media here? Primarily, we want to use it to tell your story. Your story is going to be told either by you or by someone else. So it's better that you take charge and tell your story the way you want it to be told. And in doing so, think of this as setting your personal brand. How do you want to be viewed? So my focus today is to brand you as a researcher, and what goes with that, that would indicate a serious student, someone who's smart, who has intellectual curiosity. Your social media should reinforce that image so that others can find you and want to connect you with the smart person that they've found online. So this is not just for you to reach employers, but also potentially research collaborators, either at MTSU or even at other universities. And this could be especially helpful if you want to go into a master's degree program or even further on into a PhD program one day. So, of course, social media does not go in only one direction. So not only, is it helpful for you to search and locate potential opportunities, be they potential employers or research collaborators, but um, it also lets social media people can find you. Um, There we go. So with social media, there's different tools for different tasks. So you heard Amy's discussion of LinkedIn. So I just want to contrast this with the social media tool that I'm going to be presenting to you right now called Orchid. And differences between the two. So LinkedIn is a social media platform for everyone in the working world. It's intended to present a fuller image of you as a potential employee, your work experience, your education and skills. And LinkedIn includes personal elements such as a photo, a narrative summary of your achievements and your employment interests. But this contrasts with Orchid. Orchid is only for researchers. Orchid does several things. First and foremost, it is a persistent identifier. So it's a 16-digit number associated with this profile, and that number is specific to you. It is also an identifier as far as a record of all of your scholarly works, such as, peer-reviewed publications, conference presentations, things that you're doing from the researcher point of view. So if you publish to a peer-reviewed journal, it's going to ask you for your ORCID ID, and that is a way to associate your articles with you to make it easier to find you. And so ORCID is intended to promote you as a researcher and a scholar. And being a personal identifier, it can help you distinguish yourself from others who share the same name. Although ORCID can give some of the same personal information as LinkedIn, such as your education and like a personal narrative summary of your professional career, there's nowhere to include like a photo or some of the pretty design elements that LinkedIn can do, because that's just not what ORCID is for. So yeah, I keep harping on my different tools for different purposes. So we are going to look at LinkedIn now. Let me get out of that. And let's just drop an ORCID over here. So the ORCID website, just orchid.org. I'm going to click down here to learn more and just show you real quick, talking more about some of the features of ORCID. So why get an ORCID? So the name flexibility is a big thing. There's a lot of reasons why people might change their name. I have personally changed my name. I used to be Karen Reed, which is a pretty common name. Even in academia, there's a lot of Karen Reeds out there. There's a very prominent Karen Reed who's a biologist and studies fish. And so I was getting emails from people looking for biologist Karen Reed. So it happens in academia. So when you have this ORCID ID, it distinguishes you like, okay, wrong Karen, you want, this Karen or that. So name flexibility is one thing. And so for me as someone in academia, changing my name, that was a huge deal because all of my publications were under the name of Karen Reed. So it was like, how are people going to find me if I'm Karen Norse? But ORCID kept all of my body of scholarly work together so that people can find me even after a name change. So that is one awesome thing about ORCID. The visibility, you can set those controls, and Amy showed some of that too with LinkedIn. There are visibility, options and stuff like that, that you can create the body of these different social media platforms, all the content that's in there, but then you can limit how much you want to go out, to different populations and all of that. So there are multiple places once you get on this website as far as how to register for your ORCID. I'm not going to go through that per se because it requires you to put in an email and authenticate and stuff like that. So I would just, on that note though, I would say if you create your ORCID ID or any of these, with LinkedIn as well, I would have all of this bounce to a professional email address that has your name in it. And I would not necessarily, I don't think I would use your MTSU email because that's not going to be with you for the long haul. The point of having you in college is you all are going to graduate and leave us at some point. That's how we've done our job well, is, to graduate you and get you out in the world. So you would lose that MTSU email. So create something, like a Gmail or something, of a professional nature and use that here, for your email. And then this will step you through, but I'm going to cancel out. I'm going to just go to my ORCID, which I already have in here, and just to kind of show you some features. So what you're looking at now, this is the, kind of under the hood as the creator of my profile. This is what it looks like to me. So ORCID gives these fields by default, the name and the biography. You can see here, I'm also known as Karen Norris-Reed. So it kept, I've got my old name, my current name, all of that in here so that people can find me. Like LinkedIn, we have a little short narrative biography, who I am, what type of work I do. I choose to put in here, just a little line about, why I do this work. This is, my mission, why I'm put on this earth, as far as I'm gonna. So I love being a librarian. I love the work that I do. And so I wanted to have like some little statement in here to kind of hit upon that. Um, so yeah, like I said, ORCID will prompt you through, like, to put in employment. It'll prompt you, with like these education headers, and then you're clicking the plus to add it in, and you're self-reporting all of this information out here. This is like we were talking, this option, these visibility options and stuff like that. There's different reasons you may or may not want all of this public, and that's up for you to choose. So, and then if I need to change some of this, just like LinkedIn, it's got the little pencil icon to the right that you can click on that and edit. And if for some reason, I want to trash this, if I want to like get rid of my bachelor's degree for some reason, I could do that. So professional activities is another header that ORCID has built in. And so this would be, just different professional organizations. You could certainly use this to put in professional based organizations that you participate in while you're at MTSU. I know, like, for instance, forensic science students, they work really hard to get on the phaser team, where they are actually going out and doing that type of work. That is a fantastic experience. There are a lot of discipline specific professional organizations on this campus, and you should definitely be putting these types of things into your ORCID ID. Funding, if you were part of a grant, even there's things, you could put scholarships that you have attained while you're in MTSU. That looks fantastic, because, right, we don't just hand out scholarships to anybody. You had to work hard for that. There's sometimes, depending on your major and what you're doing, there's travel funding. there's all kinds of opportunities on this campus. So you could definitely click the little plus and add those into funding. Works is something, just working on campus as a faculty member that, I care a lot about, my own peer-reviewed publications and also getting you all on peer-reviewed publications. This first article, this is actually a student publication. This student that I worked with here, I know nothing about forensic science. I am a librarian, right? Like all I know is from watching a few episodes of, like CSI or something like that. That doesn't count. But I was able to help out a undergraduate student and get him published with the head of his program. He has a peer-reviewed publication for life that is going to follow him around. So um, that is something I do help folks with, and then yeah, these are publications, whatever that I've done. So what all this looks like after you take the time and build this out, it will give you this permalink. So Amy talked about with LinkedIn, there was a place where you could put in a URL. You could use this and pop this into LinkedIn as the URL. And that way, so you're having multiple places that, potential employers can see you and see your work. So I can click on the public records. So if you just did a search, up in the search bar for like Middle Tennessee State University to find people, this is what people's profiles look like. So like I said, that was the, as the owner, creator of, what it looked like. But this is what it goes out. And in fact, we can real quick, if I do a search on other people with MTSU, and I believe I looked at this young man. Yeah, this was really good. This was apparently a former student. I just kind of randomly clicked, but so this is what more of like a student one might look like. That he has given a biography, his degree, the type of work that he's looking for. He has different employment that pertains to that discipline. He's got his education listed, things that he did here at MTSU that were related to his area of journalism. He's got his honors thesis in here. This is excellent, excellent. So yeah, he has his honors thesis listed there too. So this is what more of like a student ORCID might look like. So all of that is fantastic. So just to kind of wrap this up, real quick, some strategies for ORCID, just some do's and don'ts. Do fill in each of those predetermined categories as much as you can. Include the employment opportunities that pertain to your long-term goals as a researcher and getting into this field. I just kind of skipped over, but there's this thing called Crossref that you can use if you have publications and it pulls in the citation. It makes it easier for you. But the only don't I say is I just say don't feel bad if you lack content at this time for each of those categories. That's okay. Go ahead and build out your researcher profile in ORCID, because I trust me, you do not know where you're going to end up. If I could put you in the time machine and take you back 25, 30 years to what I was doing, is very different to the work that I'm doing now. I started off as a computer programmer. So life has twists and turns. You don't know where you're going to end up. And, some of you will definitely be ending up in graduate school and also getting your PhD one day. Never say never, I promise you. So final tips and takeaways. Like I've said 1,000 times, I'm sorry, but just there are different tools for different tasks with social media. And you can use both of these tools today that we've shown you with LinkedIn or an ORCID to target these relevant professionals, people working where you want to work. It is so important. You all know it is a very competitive job market right now. You have got to reach out and network with people who, alumni, people working in the field that you want. It gives you a leg up when you have these tools that you can go out and search and find people. So, and I do say personalize your connection requests. If you're going to blind email people, you need to kind of explain You know, so from my point of view with research, explain your research interests, why you value their work and why you'd want to connect. Amy can also speak to that too. I'll quit talking too, but just how you go out and kind of cold call people like that. But that's all I got. Thank you all. We're glad you're here.
All right, thanks, Karen. I'm going to stop the recording now.